Hey, good morning, Eastern Oregon, on this December the 9th version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon. How are you, man?
Good. It's the first Friday.
That's right. I still keep scratching my head. It's like it's December. I mean, partially it's not.
It's
It doesn't
halfway
seem
through
like,
December almost.
I know, and it doesn't seem like winter. I mean, like winter is really here yet. It's just so. I don't know.
It's
when you
crazy.
when you yeah I feel myself getting older when I talk about time and weather. That's what older people talk about all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. It's boring.
I
That
know.
and politics and religion,
Yeah,
boring.
that's right. And those topics like dominate everything right now.
No sports for me.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, LeGrand won last night basketball. I went to the game.
Oh, cool.
Boys basketball won last night against Nissa. It wasn't much of a. The JV game was cool. It went into like double overtime. We ended up winning there, but the varsity game we handled them pretty well.
Oh, cool. Well, hey, let's bang out a couple of our sponsors. First of all, CHD Public Health is doing a number of drives uh, this week and through the month of December. And it's not hard to find a location near you to get any one of the vaccination doses or the booster of any one of the vaccinations that are available. So
It's
be
at the
sure.
office this week, isn't it?
What's
10 to
that?
2. It's at their office this week, 10 to 2.
Well, I know it's there tomorrow for sure from 10 to 2. So,
Yeah.
and they had a big thing at North Powder. I think that was on Wednesday. So,
All configurations too. First
yep.
dose, second dose, booster, pediatric.
Yep.
You can get any of them.
So be sure and check that out. And then also Cam Designs, our sponsor, they are out on the corner just across from Walmart and did the wrap on our van. They do van wraps, stoves, signs. Took me a while to figure out the Cam D signs. That's one of their that's in their name. But the reason they chose that logo is because they do a lot of CAM, and CAM is computer controlled cutting and that type of thing. And they do a lot of CAM stuff with signs and with manufacturing and that type of thing. So they're very handy.
Yeah, you can see it. You can see the signs on their Facebook page, like the D signs.
Yeah,
because the S is capitalized. If you look at their Facebook page.
Yeah. So anyhow, and then also here in a bit, Grant Turner is going to be with us, but we're giving away 2 tickets to A Christmas Carol, which is it's at BMCC. This weekend showing is at BMCC and the Bob Clapp Theater, no relation to me. And Grant will be with us talking about that. And then there are also a couple of tickets for Tuck Everlasting, which the last showing of that is this weekend at the Elgin Opera House. And then next weekend, A Christmas Carol will be showing through several showings in December at the Elgin Opera House.
So if you want those tickets, go to our Facebook page. There's 2 posts up.
Yeah.
And find the post, like it, share it, write the comment, and you'll be entered in for the drawing, which we're going to draw today.
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow morning. Well, yeah, probably today.
Yeah. So jump on there, and it's my whole family is going. I'm taking Kyle and Kelsey and the little ones to see Tuck Everlasting on Friday night, and so that'll be kind of fun.
Yeah.
So, and then we'll be going to A Christmas Carol too sometime in there. Just haven't got it figured out. So, yeah. Well, what else is up, man?
How long is that Christmas?
A Christmas Carol? Yeah. It's playing. So it'll be playing next weekend. Next weekend, it's playing on one show Friday night and then one show Saturday afternoon, I want to say. And then it's on the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd in the evening show. So
only in Pendleton?
No. So this weekend is the only show in Pendleton. All of the other shows are at Elgin Opera House. So it's the same cast and everything.
Gotcha.
So, yep. And that's the typical.
Your name is Drone Video EOA.
Yeah, that's a different show. That's a different thing. Oh, I changed. Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
I changed it on it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. He's droning on. So, yeah.
Why are snails bad at racing?
Why?
Because they're sluggish. That's actually a good one, and you didn't even laugh. You fake laugh. That's one of the best ones I've ever given you.
Best ones in which manner?
Well, I mean, it would have been probably the easiest one for you to get.
Well, I was gonna say because they're slow. I mean, but I knew that would be too obvious.
It's because they're sluggish.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm glad you're here. You weren't feeling well the other morning.
No. Oh,
yeah.
God, it was not good.
You wouldn't have been good company on the air.
No, probably not. No, not at all.
Yeah. Here we go. That's what I was trying to do.
No snow. Gabe was wrong in his forecast.
Uh-oh.
Wait, did he forecast snow? Yeah, let's see. Oh, that's not today's. Oh, it's tomorrow.
So.
Oh, yeah, today's. There wasn't any. Oh, well, okay. Maybe the flurries aren't starting till 9.
Yeah.
So I guess there is going to be snow. I forgot it doesn't pick up until 9 o'clock.
Yeah. And then tomorrow.
High of 35 today. Lows in the 20s.
Woo. So this is tomorrow. They look really close. So this is today and now tomorrow. Highs
37, lows upper 20, same, just about the same.
Yeah,
showers.
Could be up to up to 1 inch of snowfall. We'll see, and it looks like it's going to stay cold. So then, if it does snow, it's going to stick around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Morning, Julie. Thank you. Yes, feeling much better.
Yeah.
Oh, well, no, it's time for that. Snow's coming. I know it. We're going to get it's so late that I'll bet you we're just going to get hammered.
Yeah. Well, and when it comes, do you have snow tires for your cars?
Yeah.
Are they on yet?
Yeah.
Or did you ever take them off?
No, I did. They're on there.
So, yeah. So, hey, and if you, I don't know, talk about our snow tire sponsor.
Who's our snow? What?
Well, talk about Justin.
Oh,
yeah. Talk about them.
You can't just hit me with stuff like that, BC. I have no idea what you're talking about. Like what?
I thought you would kind of lead into.
Well, we don't talk about them on this show. So
no.
Yeah, Rockin' Sons Tire and Auto. They sponsor my sports show, and it's that time of year where if you need tires, go see JB and the boys. I mean, they have an awesome website too where you can order your tires right there. It's rockinsons.net, and check it out. They have competitive prices, and they're local. JB's a good dude, and support small business. So Rockin' Sons Tire and Auto, East End, Adams, and LeGrand. And
they're doing auto repair too. I mean, he's always done some auto repair, brakes and that type of stuff. But they're doing it full blast now. I mean, they're doing engine replacement, transmission replacement, the whole 9 yards. And so they've kind of expanded their services in their area. And yeah, really good guy. I mean, there's just something really positive about you walk in the door and you shake hands with the owner. And that is just such a cool thing. So, yeah. So what else is going on, man?
No, not much. The Milenberg's this weekend. LeGrand hosts the Milenberg every year. It's the biggest tournament for wrestling that we host. Starts at Friday. Weigh-ins are at 1. 2 o'clock is when wrestling starts. Yeah.
Well,
Friday, Saturday tournament.
we have a little bit of time to burn here because Grant is not here yet, and so yeah. So I need you to so tell us what else is. Talk to us a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm like,
and I didn't even know we had a guest.
I know. I'm sorry. We didn't yeah. We have barely seen each other.
My earpieces, I can't hear very well right now.
Does it keep messing up?
Plugging up on. Well, it broke right before the show, so I just shoved it in there broken, and it's.
It's funny. I had the same thing. Mine was like the little end came off and it went somewhere, and I'm like, where is it? Yeah. So
That's
all of these issues that are behind the scene that nobody has any idea what's going on.
Well, mine, the little rubber piece, half of it broke off. Like I was fidgeting with it, and it just because it's rubber. I'm sure it breaks down over time.
Yeah,
and it just fell off. So now I'm rolling with like just half of the rubber piece, and might be some earwax jammed in there or something, and I can't hear very well.
Yeah,
that's another one of the things that people don't understand. You wear one of these every day. Eventually, sometimes you get it in there and you can't hear because there's a little bit of earwax that gets in there. It can even be just the littlest bit of earwax.
I know.
And you can't hear. I mean, right now it sounds like you're 800 miles away and you're talking through a tin cup.
There are some people that are like totally grossed out with earwax. I mean,
your body produces it for a reason.
I know. I agree, but man, there are some people that is like, oh, yeah.
I don't know exactly what the reason is, but I know that. We don't. It's not just for fun. I don't think.
So what is something that grosses you out that people might not expect a person to be grossed out by?
I don't like hair. Feet. Ugh. Feet. If people got funky feet, oh god.
What if they put their toes on you or is that a thing for you?
Well, if they're cute feet, it's one thing. But if they're like funky, like Shrek looking feet, no. Blood grosses me out bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you faint? Do you ever faint? I mean, have you ever
fainted? I almost did when I had a kid get hurt in a baseball game, and there was a little bit of blood involved. They were giving him an IV before they life flighted him, and the blood kind of squirted out, and my vision went like that. I almost went out.
It's kind of funny. Go ahead.
Puke, poop.
Yeah.
Not a fan. Oh, you know what else grosses me out bad? Sheep.
What? Sheep?
Yeah. Wet wool, dingleberries, hoof rot.
Oh, that's right. Because you worked with sheep for a while.
Well, yeah, my aunt and uncle still have sheep. And man, you get that wet wool or you go to cut some dingleberries off and some maggots come out. There's nothing pretty about that.
Oh, so let's see. I'm trying to think. I'm not grossed out by. There's not too much stuff that bothers me. Sometimes, some stuff does, but it's something kind of funny about Kelsey and Kyle. Kelsey's the nurse, my daughter, and of course, as a nurse, she can handle anything except when her own husband is bleeding. That's what makes her like. Yeah. So if Kyle cuts himself or gets injured a little bit, she has to really work at not that overwhelming her, which I understand that. I guess I haven't asked her about what it's like if one of her kids get injured. So
that's why I could never be a paramedic or cop or DHS worker, because if I see kids hurt, I wouldn't be able to handle that.
Yeah, that would. I totally get that. So how about you guys out there? What's kind of a weird thing that someone wouldn't know? You know what? When I go to the dentist and I have my teeth cleaned, I'm totally fine until they use that little rotating scrub thing. They put the polish on at the end,
That doesn't bother me.
Oh man, that is like when you're polishing a car and you have those big old wheels and it's the last step that you did. That's what it feels like for me. I don't know what it is. I mean, just talking about it gives me.
Want to know what bothers me at the dentist?
What's that?
When they have to cauterize your gums to put your teeth back in.
Did you have to have that done?
Yeah, this tooth is fake. You can totally tell.
Yeah.
I fell out of the back of a car or back of a truck my sophomore year in high school on my face, going like 25 miles an hour.
Wow.
And in order to put your teeth back in, they have to burn your gums back so your gums will grow back over the top of your teeth.
Yeah.
And that smell, it's burned in my head forever. The smell of my own gums being burnt. Not pretty.
No. Well, yeah.
And they saved a couple of my teeth. They couldn't save that one. It was busted.
Well, did you go without? So did you go with have no teeth for a while there?
Yeah, until they got them in, until they got them back in.
Well, so
they put them in this. They put them in this like substance to save them until you can get to the dentist.
Yeah.
Because I ran down to the emergency room, and because they thought I broke my orbital bone too, and they never even did any X-rays or anything on it, which is weird. But I went back to baseball practice that night.
So
definitely had a concussion.
But where was the process where they cauterized your gums to stop it from bleeding?
No, they cauterize. I told everybody that just a second ago. They cauterize your gums back so they'll grow back over your teeth.
Yeah, but putting the fake tooth in was a separate thing.
No, that's when they cauterize your gums.
Oh,
yeah,
I see.
They burn them back. They put your teeth in, and then your gums grow back over the top of the teeth.
Okay. Both the fake tooth and the real tooth.
Yeah.
So did they have the fake tooth formulated right away that they could put in?
No, it took a while.
Yeah. So I guess that's what I'm trying to.
Yeah. So I was missing a tooth for a while.
Yeah.
They left the chunk that was there until they got the new tooth. And then they did a root canal and they grinded it down to this little teeny tiny stump. And then they used that to put the fake tooth in.
That's right. So
I think I need a new fake tooth though, because it's a little bit lighter than the rest of my teeth, but oh well.
So did they cauterize it the second time then, or they just cauterized it the first time?
Second time too, when they put the other fake one in as well.
Wow.
Or when they put the fake one in, they burned it back, but it wasn't fun.
All right,
25 miles an hour out the back of a truck onto asphalt does not feel. I would not recommend it.
Yeah.
And back then they didn't pay attention to concussions. I definitely had a concussion. Oh yeah, I can remember. Yeah, I definitely had 2 concussions in high school.
Yeah,
and never. I mean, I nowadays you would have missed time. Like I remember the concussion I got in football. My neck and jaw hurt for like a month. That's how hard I got hit in the helmet. Like I couldn't chew very well. My neck was all stoved up. Nowadays, kids, thank God they pay attention to that kind of stuff and get people out before they.
I was watching a football game the other day, and there was a hit, and then they lined back up, did a huddle, and lined back up. They were just getting ready to hike the ball, and the ref stopped the game because one of the guys they have sensors in the helmets, and somehow they had gotten an indication that one of the guys that was in the previous play had to be pulled out for a minute to examine it.
And they have sensors in the helmets?
I think they do. Yeah. I think this was at the pro level or someplace, but it was.
I never heard of that.
Or maybe it was just.
They could.
Maybe they reevaluated. Maybe they were reevaluating the play, the replay, and the officials said, wait a minute, let's stop the game and pull that guy out. So
possibly, yeah. I don't know what the sensors in the helmets would sense.
Well, it would sense G-force.
They might have that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There could. Very well could.
Yeah. So, Well, hey, so Grant Turner is going to join us in just a minute. I'm going to play. I worked on a little drone video that's kind of cool. We'll play that, and then Grant will be with us here in just a minute. All right. How are you this morning, Grant?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, good. Well, hey, thanks for joining us and being with us this morning. So you're here with us to talk to us about A Christmas Carol, which is happening this weekend at BMCC at the Bob Clapp Theater, and then
Correct.
And then in the rest of the weekends, next weekend, and the rest of the shows will be at Elgin Opera House.
Correct.
So that's a little different arrangement. Talk to us about how did that happen?
Well, the Opera House has been working for some time to create a merger of sorts with a theater in Pendleton. We're really trying to expand as broadly as we can throughout Eastern Oregon so that we have locations or theater sites available to us so that we can tour, so that we can foster sort of a sharing of theaters. You know, we once did a show down in Baker City. We did a production of An Inspector Calls there for a weekend. So it's been a goal of ours for some time to expand our map, if you will. And Terry works at BMCC, Terry Hale, the artistic director. And so just a lot of pieces were already in place. And so we decided to give this a shot as sort of the first guinea pig to see if this is something going forward that we can do on a more consistent, regular basis.
Oh, very cool. And then what is your involvement in this particular show? You're not directing it, though.
I'm not directing. Okay. I am an actor in this one, but because the Opera House is also doing Tuck Everlasting at the exact same time. So this weekend, Tuck Everlasting is playing at the Opera House, and A Christmas Carol is playing in BMCC. I'm de facto, liaison for the opera house as well. So
Okay.
so producing to an extent.
That's crazy. Has the Opera House ever done 2 shows, 2 different places on the same weekend before?
No, but it is our goal going forward to do this far more frequently. We
Yeah.
now have the Hale Turner Little Theater. We're in the process of building a 3rd theater. We now have the outdoor space that we did Comedy of Errors this summer. And with the Blue Mountain space, it is our goal at some point in time to, somebody could come out to Elgin and they could see a show in one space on Friday night. They could see a Saturday matinee out on the outdoor stage, and they can see a 3rd performance on the indoor stage that Saturday night. So,
Wow.
that's what we're trying to create.
Now, I've not been in other theater communities. Do they do that? Is that a thing where they have?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's we're a theater ensemble. I mean, it's like Ashland, right?
Right.
The Oregon Shakespeare Festival, they do the same thing. Most states have at least one major theater organization that can balance 2 or 3 shows at a time. We're an ensemble. These plays are in rep. In a perfect world, you'd want one actor would be a small part in one play in that space, and then that evening he would be in a different role in a different play, perhaps a larger role on another space. And then as an actor, you're really getting a lot of work for your, a lot of fuel for your craft. And as an audience member, it's really fun to watch actors bounce and forth between performances. And the ideal thing behind it really is just that it would create commerce to Eastern Oregon, right? Somebody from, say, Wallowa, or say they come over from Tri-Cities, and rather than just seeing a show that night and heading home, they get a hotel room. They have breakfast that morning at a local restaurant. They get some coffee at the coffee shop. They browse the main street as they wait for their matinee to start. So it would increase commerce throughout the region as well.
Wow. Well, very cool. Have you done that? I mean, have you been, I would imagine you have, shows where you're putting on different hats, playing different characters in each show?
I once did a show in Portland where it was a double bill. One of the weirdest Shakespearean double bills ever done. But basically, I edited each play down to about 90 minutes. And so we would do one show, and then we would go to intermission, and we would all change characters, and then we would just do a second show. So one was a tragedy and one was a comedy. And we would come out before the show would begin, and we'd say, so this is the tragedy, this is the comedy. Which one do you want to see first? And we would do like an audience poll, and they would usually settle one way or the other, and we'd say, okay. And then we would just jump in and do the play. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it made it fun for us as actors.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That would be a blast. Is there ever a time, though, when you got confused along the way? Like, I just said that line in the other character's voice.
No, I mean, it's pretty easy to compartmentalize. That doesn't mean I don't make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time, but not mistakes like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the last time that you were on a show with me, you were in the character of Mrs. Trunchbull. Ms.
Yeah, I can't imagine she was married.
Ms. Trunchbull. Yeah. And you corrected me several times. Yes.
Yeah.
So, and you did really well. I played Henry Higgins years ago in a play, and people would go like, "Oh, you were so good. We hated you," and and that was very much how it was like, you were such an unpleasant person, and you did that so well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have a skill set, and it's to play oily, unctuous, gross people really well.
Oily. That's so. So, who do you play in A Christmas Carol?
Well, there's the irony. In Christmas Carol, I play Bob Cratchit, who is probably the nicest guy in the play, and I also play Fezziwig, which is Scrooge's first employer when he remembers his past.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hey, let's go through a few pictures. And so then, unfortunately, these are just over the top of us, but we can still talk. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin
So,
Cahill.
this is Kevin Cahill, and is he playing? He's playing Scrooge.
He's Scrooge.
Imagine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before I joined the Opera House, I cobbled together just a staged reading of A Christmas Carol. And so Kevin and I and my daughter Anne and a couple of others, we've been doing this play. I think this is our 5th year, really, that we've told this story one way or another. And Kevin has always been Scrooge. It's a role, I mean, I hate to say it's a role he's born to play because people assume that I mean that he's Scrooge. But what I really mean is that he is so great at telling the story of the redemption of Scrooge. You know, he's such a nice guy that you believe at the end that he is changed. He has to act all angry and mean and grumpy. But Kevin is just such a warm, honest, open human being that when Scrooge reaches his moment of redemption, Kevin can play that beautifully because that's right in his wheelhouse. So he has fun playing the grumpy, mean ogre that is Scrooge, but Kevin's skill set is to be just genuine and open and honest and real, and that's why he's so great at Scrooge. I mean, I think a lot of actors can't do that. A lot of actors can, you know, like I could probably, because I play unctuous and oily well, Scrooge, I could probably play Scrooge the bad guy, but I don't know that I could be Scrooge the nice guy.
Yeah. Now, and these shots are from a rehearsal.
Correct.
At BMCC, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Wow. And
so you can see we're all on the stage throughout the entire play. All of the actors are on the stage. I think I'm in there somewhere. I think I'm like the third guy from the end there. But the conceit of the play is that we are all just storytellers. It's kind of a play within a play within a play. The first play is that Grant and Kevin and Cody, who you see there, and Abby, we are just gathered to put on a play. Once the play begins, then we become Victorian characters from 1865. And then the Victorian characters have a story to tell, and the story they're telling is Scrooge. And then each one of us becomes Bob Cratchit or Fezziwig or the Ghost of Christmas Past or Tiny Tim, whoever the case may be. So it sounds confusing, but it's not really. But all that just to say, that's why we're on stage. That's why the entire cast is on stage, because the idea is that we're all just actors there to tell a story. And when our time comes, we rise from our chair, we go to the center, and we tell our story.
Interesting. So I mean, wow. So you're like, everything's exposed. I mean, you're just, you're right there. So everybody's on the stage the entire time.
Yes. If I have an itch, everybody watches me scratch it. Yeah.
Do you have is there an intermission? Do you have parts where you break it out?
There is an intermission. It's not a very long play, so we debated about it. There was some talk about, let's just plow through. I mean, as is, it probably plays about 70 minutes. So, there was some debate about whether we should just, drive through to the end. But there's a very natural point where a break seemed appropriate, so we decided to do it. Yeah.
And so then is it all scripted, or is the first part of it kind of a little bit ad lib, and then you get into the Victorian part and that's scripted? Yeah.
As you said, I'm not directing this one.
Right.
This is actually being directed by a friend of mine from Portland, a guy who had an extensive career, a rather storied career in Portland before I brought him out here. His name is John Kretsu, and he is rather renowned he loves prologues. He thinks that the play really begins when the audience arrives. And so he likes to be telling a story in one way, shape, or form, whether it's whether the set does all the work, whether there's music playing over the loudspeaker, or whether the actors interact with the audience. So in this particular production, as the audience arrives, we will be on stage in costume. We will be filtering through the audience. We'll be welcoming people, handing out programs, talking about the show, wishing them Merry Christmas. And that's all improvised. That's just us being us. And you know, we're not playing characters or anything like that. We're just a part of the festivities. But at 7:30 or 2:30, whenever the show begins, there's a very distinct moment where the play proper starts, and then that's all Dickens' words.
So Dickens wrote the play within the play thing. I mean, okay.
He didn't overlay that concept,
okay,
but that's sort of the concept. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So
then once,
so what happens is, as a result, we all take on the voice of the narration.
Okay.
And so each one of us helps to share in the narration. And then when telling is not good enough or effective enough, and we need to really boil it down and show the scene, then we all become characters as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, interesting. And so then so since there is no set, then it makes the show very portable.
Correct.
I mean,
yeah. That was one of the selling points to going to BMCC this opening weekend as well. Yes. Yeah. If we had to take, you know, like you did My Fair Lady, if you had to take that entire set, you had to take, you know, say you had an orchestra and you had to take the orchestra with you, that'd be a lot of work. But I mean, we basically pile all the costumes into the costumer's car, and you know, props are I think props and chairs and all that stuff got carted over in a van or a U-Haul, and you know, that was it.
Well, that's cool. And so then, I mean, and this is kind of in your wheelhouse too. I mean, you really like Shakespeare.
I do.
I mean, at least you've done a lot of Shakespeare,
sure,
right?
Sure. Yeah.
But and Shakespeare is portable. I mean, you can do it in the park, and you can do it.
It should be. I mean, I don't know that it is in the 21st century as much as it used to be, right?
Right.
I mean, audiences are just prepared to see big opulent sets and, you know, fancy costumes, and but you're right. I like plays that are easy and accessible and sort of dressed down, and where the words do most of the action.
Right.
You know, I mean, Shakespeare is a great example, right? So Romeo comes out and says, "But soft what light through yonder window breaks." He's talking about, you know, it's night and there's a light in the window. When Shakespeare wrote that, he was probably performing that on stage during the day, and there was no light. So the words tell the story. The words help to craft what you're seeing. You don't need darkness and you don't need a light. You can act it, if you will. So yeah, I prefer plays like that. And Christmas Carol is very much that as well.
Right.
We help create the mood and the scene, and we describe what people would be seeing. Yeah.
But it requires people with skill. I mean, they have to carry the imaging.
Well, what I would say is that in particularly in the 21st century, the modern actor tends to be an emotional actor, and can tell you what they're feeling, and you can see in their face what they're going through. But it is not every actor that can tell a story with words. You know, there are a lot of actors who are like, if I didn't have these silly words in the way, I could really show you what I'm feeling, because, you know, I can cry and I can be mean, and it's just these words somehow they don't quite work with the emotion that I'm trying to create. So yeah, it is hard. It's hard for a modern actor to just trust the words to carry them through. And the words, if you trust the word usually helps to craft the appropriate emotion that you're feeling. Again, to go back to Hamlet, right? So let's say Hamlet comes out and he says, to be or not to be, that is the question. And the actor is really sad and he's really depressed, and you're like, oh, okay, I get it. He's sad, you know. And that's great. I mean, that's an emotion that I can identify with, and that's an expression that I get. He is sad. But if you listen to what he says and you follow the text and the actor plays the word, you get a much more nuanced version of sad. Because sad can mean any number of things, right? I can be sad that my dog passed away, or I can be sad that I didn't get that mail in the mailbox that I was hoping to get, or I can be sad that my favorite TV show has been canceled. I mean, there's a variety of sadness. But if you listen to Hamlet talk, and he, very expressly clarifies that what he's debating is whether he should go on living or whether he shouldn't live, and how he should make the appropriate decision for himself. That's a much more nuanced sadness than just acting sad. So, I mean, it seems silly that I would say all this, but it is, the actor needs to trust the word and believe in what the author had put on the page in order to perform. Does that make sense? I tend to ramble.
It does. It's just totally at a different level than what I am as an actor. I'm casual, you know.
Sure,
I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean, part of My Fair Lady worked because of this incredible set and this incredible the costumes and
that's theater too, right? I mean, you get good people in the right role, and you dress them well, and there's music and dancing and a flurry of action, and that's theater too. But when you really boil it down, I mean, theater is storytelling, and in order to tell the story, the more specific you can be, the better. Right. And so a generality of emotion is never going to be as effective as a defined emotion. And that all comes from the text.
And I get that. I mean, I've spent, a good portion of my early life singing as a soloist and in a group, and it's a very different atmosphere when you're out on the apron of the stage and you're singing, and it's just you, and you've got to be on because you're carrying the entire thing.
Well, and singing is a perfect metaphor as well, because look at all the great singers, Frank Sinatra, Barbra Streisand, I'm not a huge fan of her per se, but I also think she's amazing. Celine Dion. I mean, these are people that know how to phrase a lyric, right? Mm-hmm. And to tell a story with the lyric. They don't just sing, you know what it is to hear someone just blurt out words, and then you know what it is to hear someone tell a story with song. And those are the artists that really connect with you. Like Bruce Springsteen, not a great singer, but an amazing storyteller, and so you love listening to him tell a story.
Interesting. Wow, what a great concept. Okay.
I mean, the point just being ultimately that, and you sort of alluded to it, theater is not easy. I mean, I think of all of the artistic crafts, I think a lot of people believe, theater is the lowest hanging fruit. And that's the easy one. I could go on stage. I could, they might say, how do you memorize all those lines or something to that effect? But I think most people are like, I can be an actor. It's easy. But it isn't. It's hard. There's a lot of work involved. I remember when I was working, and Henry Higgins was way out of range for me. I thought, I had a couple of months of dialect training, and then I think there's, a tremendous amount of memorization. And I remember hollering, the director was Mike Frazier, and he was a good friend of mine, is like, and we were working on blocking all at the same time. It's like, okay, which one of these things do you want me to do? Do you want me to read my lines, or do you want me to walk at the same time? But I can't do both. And so, it was a tremendous thing. So. Mike and I were in a production of Sweeney Todd at what was then Eastern Oregon State College back in 1990, when it opened on what was then the new theater back then. So Mike and I go way back.
Okay. Well, hey, so we are giving away a couple of tickets to the show this weekend. And so those tickets are in a post, and people can like and share those, and we will give those tickets away. And then the other shows, tell us about the shows that are at. So next weekend they're normal. I mean, there's a Saturday, a Friday show, and a Saturday show.
We do Friday, Saturday. We take Sunday and Monday off, and then we do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we butt up right up to the 23rd.
Okay, and the Christmas Eve is Friday.
Correct. Yeah.
And Christmas is Saturday. Okay,
correct.
And so then, what'd you say? Tuesday, Wednesday,
Tuesday,
Thursday.
Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah.
In
Which
the
is
evenings,
a little,
yeah,
not traditional.
Yeah. So, well, that's very cool. Well, I'm sure I'll be out there at one of those shows. Yeah. Be great to see you.
Well, Christmas Carol is it, like I said, I've done it every year since I've been in LeGrand that I can think of. It's an amazing story. Any version of it really is amazing. I can watch Mickey Mouse Christmas Carol and enjoy it. I can watch the Muppet Christmas Carol and enjoy it. And I can watch, George C. Scott in, some prestigious production of A Christmas Carol. It's an amazing story. And there's a reason why it survived the, 200 years or almost 200 years since it's been written, because it's the story of a man's redemption through seeing his past, his present, and his future is something that I think resonates with us all. And the beauty of it is that Christmas as we know it in our current lifetime really was sort of defined by that Victorian era. And Dickens was really one of the architects of Christmas as we understand it. This idea of Christmas being a time that you share with your family, a Christmas being a time that you celebrate the love that you have for your fellow man, the time in which you bestow generosity toward others. That was all really Dickens. I mean, Christmas up until the Victorian era was much more of a, Saturnalian, bacchanal. I mean, it was really quite a party. And so much so that the Puritans tried to get rid of it because it was just too decadent. And it was really the Victorians that kind of turned it in on itself and made it a time to share with family. Then the Americans got a hold of it, and we created, sort of the modern Santa Claus and the Christmas card and a lot of those traditions. But the Victorians brought, the Christmas feast. They brought the Christmas tree. They brought the singing of carols. Christmas is really being created right around the time that Dickens writes this play or this story. Although he did do it as a play himself. He toured it as a one-man show, which must have been brilliant to see. He considered himself a bit of an actor too. So I think that's also part of why this story resonates. Not only is the framing a device that we really connect with, but I think we connect with the origins of Christmas because we still sort of live it today.
Cool. Well, Grant, thanks so much for jumping in. I know that you were in Pendleton last night.
I was, yeah.
And then you dropped kids off this morning and came back.
I'm still a full-time dad throughout it all. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to be on with us this morning, and appreciate your work at the Elgin Opera House and what it is you do.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks for having me on, and I hope everybody comes to see the show in the next 2 weeks.
That's right. All right. Thanks, Grant.
Sure.
Speaking of that, I put a link for tickets up on the Facebook page in the comments. If you want tickets, click on that link. Let's get us out of here. On this day in 1793, Noah Webster established New York's first daily newspaper, the American Minerva. 1793. I don't usually do football ones, but this is kind of cool. I don't usually do sports ones on this day because there's hundreds of them. But in 1925 on this day, pro football in New York City became a hit when the Grange and Bears beat the Giants 73,000 people went to that game in 1925. Can you
Holy
imagine
smokes.
in the 20s? Like, I mean, that's like, isn't that like Depression time?
Yeah,
1925?
25. That was right
70
before. That was
right
right
before
before
the Great
the
Depression?
Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody's probably there smoking cigarettes in their 20. I love those old pictures of that. Because back then, like, people smoked in the stadiums. You know, it was like a whole different world.
Well, and it'd be really interesting. How would they, I mean, they weren't even building stadiums that would accommodate 70,000 people.
I think the Polo Grounds were there in 1925. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
1941, China declared war on Japan, Germany, and Italy on this day. 1941.
Wow.
1948, UN General Assembly unanimously voted to approve the Convention on Genocide. 1948. 1965, on this day, A Charlie Brown Christmas, the first Peanuts animated special, premiered on CBS in the United States. And then I skip all the way up to 2019. The World Anti-Doping Agency banned Russia from all major sporting events, including last year's Olympics and the 2022 Football World Cup in Qatar, for manipulating laboratory data on doping. And there's a really good documentary on Netflix. 2 people have died over this documentary. Like, 2 people have been disappeared.
Wow.
Over this documentary on the doping that was going on in Russia and how they were manipulating the laboratory data. A guy went undercover and exposed it all, and it's on a documentary on Netflix. Check it out. The number 1 song on this day in 1991. I actually got to use 1991. Black or White, Michael Jackson. And that was, I think that was on the Dangerous album. Yeah, it was on the Dangerous album. And then let's see, my quote for the day. It's right there. It's Muhammad Ali. It isn't the mountains ahead to climb that wear you out. It's the pebble in your shoe. Muhammad Ali.
Boy, that's good.
It isn't the mountains ahead to climb that wear you out. It's the pebble in your shoe. Yeah, that is a good one, ain't it?
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali has a lot of good quotes.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because, I mean, he was a boxer, but people don't understand how smart Muhammad Ali really was. Like, he was pretty with it.
Well, and I remember seeing him on TV at the time, and
he was snappy, huh?
He was, but you didn't. He was arrogant, and I remember my dad not liking him. But the point is that his personality was so much out there that he was hard to listen to. You know what I mean? And so in retrospect, some of his quotes he's way more appreciated after the highlight of his athletic career than what he was then, I think. So
possibly, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Thanks, everyone.
See you Tuesday. Go see Tuck Everlasting, or go over the mountain and go see Christmas Carol.
Yep.
Go visit Cam Designs.
Those tickets are free and available. Yep.
Yeah. Comment, like, share, follow whatever it says on the page. I can't remember what I wrote.
All right. Talk soon.